same techniques for painting that we learned for drawing. When you begin to add color, I'm going to add just a tiny amount at a time. I'm using the broad side to work back into the still wet paint. So this is called a wet on wet blending technique. I can add a little bit more light if I need to. A little bit more yellow. I don't use water for this because you're blending colors that are analogous, so they shouldn't make any ugly colors. Get your full strength yellow in there. Well, it's still wet. Teeny tiny amount of your medium color. Notice I started way back outside of my yellow. I'm going to go back over it with my yellow. Pretty much the same skills that you did with your colored pencils when you were blending. If you get too much paint on there, just wipe your paint off. That's what the newspaper's for, and for protecting my tables. Okay. When you go to your darkest value, you want just a teeny tiny bit. You can even dab it off, and then into that wet paint. If your paint dries, if you're trying to sit down and paint, your paint's you're going to move slower, and that's one of the reasons that I have you guys stand up, is so that you can move a little more quickly. You don't want your hand down here and try to do this because it doesn't work. So if you mess up, like I just did, go back, blend some of that away. I'm going to have to go back up into my paint that's already starting to dry a little bit to blend that stripe away. But I can do that. Just keep more paint and just keep going up. It's hard to go back into your old area because you've got the darker colors on your brush now. So you want to try to avoid that if at all possible. But now you know how to fix it if you do it. Okay. That's your basic value scale with 3 different values. You can use one color. You can do white and pink, white and red, and do all the different values of pink. Or you can do like warm colors or cool colors or any 2 color combinations. You don't have to use white, but you can. The next one we're going to do is the hatching. Remember, your hatching line is one of your texture techniques that we learned when we were drawing. I'm using the very tip of the brush. I wiped it so it's nice and smooth. It's as sharp as I can get it without squeezing it with my fingers. I don't recommend that. Hatching is one way, one direction. You can do hatching with more than one color. The more times you go over it, the more it's going to blend. I'm just barely touching my brush to the paper.